Welcome back to Ben's Book Club. Today, we are diving into the book Insane, The Let Them Theory, to unpack its core message in this explainer. You probably know Mel Robbins, right? Former CNN legal analyst, the powerhouse behind the 5-second rule. Well, her newest work is all about mastering your mindset and your boundaries. And honestly, it is an absolute game changer, especially if you're someone who feels constantly drained from trying to micromanage every single person and circumstance around you. So think about this for a second. Have you ever actually lost sleep over something someone else did? Maybe it was a passive-aggressive comment from a coworker, or a friend making a really poor decision, or even just a partner's annoying bad habit. We all do it. We have this deep underlying need to feel in control. We try so hard to manage the people and situations around us because, well, our brain literally thinks that's what's going to keep us safe. But as we're going to explore today, fighting to control things that were never yours to control in the first place, it really just leads to massive exhaustion and sets us up for constant conflict. In fact, Robbins points out this absolutely staggering statistic right at the beginning of the book. 7 out of 10 people live in a state of chronic stress simply from trying to control others. I mean, wow, think about that number for a second. 70% of us are walking around with our nervous systems totally fried. And it's not even necessarily because of what we're doing, it's because we're over-investing all of our energy into micromanaging what other people are doing. It is a massive, massive drain on our personal power. Section 1. The illusion of control and understanding relationship dynamics. Let's get right into it. To really grasp why this whole theory works so well, we first have to understand what we're up against biologically. You see, the human brain is actually hardwired to seek control for safety. It's this ancient survival mechanism. But here's the catch. Trying to control another adult's thoughts, feelings, or actions is neurologically impossible. Robbins uses this fantastic seesaw metaphor to explain it. When you try to manage someone else's behavior, it's like you're constantly trying to balance a side of the seesaw that just isn't yours to balance. You're fighting a losing battle against biology, and honestly, all it does is create intense anxiety. Now, what's really fascinating here is the behavioral research that backs this all up. The science of resistance shows that when you pressure someone to change, their brain immediately triggers a threat response, a literal survival response, which causes immediate pushback. People only truly change when it feels like their own choice, right? When you push, they resist. So it's not just them being stubborn, it is an actual physiological hijack. Moving on to Section 2, enter the let them theory as a manual override. So how do we fix the stress hijack and break this exhausting cycle? Well, Robbins puts it perfectly. She says 2 simple words, let them, will set you free. Free from the opinions, drama, and judgments of others. Basically, instead of fighting human nature, you just consciously release that impossible burden. You give people the freedom to be exactly who they are, do what they do, think what they think, and react how they react. It acts as an instant pattern interrupt for your anxiety. There are just so many everyday scenarios where you can apply this right now. Flaky frames taking a trip without you? Let them. Coworkers who constantly want to complain? Let them. Partners choosing not to change a bad habit? Or maybe you find yourself getting super agitated at a really slow cashier? Just let them. Mel actually shares this pretty raw personal story in the book about finding out her own friends went on a trip without her. And initially, yeah, she felt deep hurt and rejection. But instead of demanding answers or trying to fix the situation, she just said, let them. Doing this immediately stops you from outsourcing your self-worth to other people's choices. All right, Section 3, the let me pivot and why it's about what you do next. Here is the absolutely crucial point, juxtaposing let them with let me. Meaning, once you actually accept reality as it is, that's the let them side, you then actively shift 100% of your energy into deciding how you want to respond. And that is the let me side. As in, let me take full responsibility for my boundaries. Let me focus on my own execution at work. Let me just walk away if a situation no longer serves me. It's a total mindset shift. You stop chasing and forcing, and you finally start leading yourself. Which brings us to Section 4, 3 levels of acceptance, and how to track your journey. True acceptance doesn't just happen overnight, right? So we usually start at step 1, which is surface acceptance. This is where you're pretty much just tolerating behavior to keep the peace. You might be saying let them, but you're doing it through gritted teeth, which, let's be honest, often just breeds more resentment. So we want to evolve from there to step 2, understanding acceptance. This is where you start seeing their perspective. You realize their flaws are actually driven by their own fears or past trauma, not by you. And then finally, we reach the ultimate goal, step 3, deep acceptance. This is genuine compassion. It's letting them be exactly who they are without needing them to change just to make you feel safe. Next up, Section 5, passivity versus boundaries. This is a crucial distinction. Now, a major debate around this whole theory is whether let them is really just a fancy, clinical excuse for avoiding healthy conflict, or maybe becoming emotionally distant. But Robbins clarifies this beautifully through a concept called compassionate detachment. See, it isn't about indifference at all, and it certainly isn't about tolerating abuse. It's actually a form of boundary setting that protects your nervous system from burning out on other people's drama. It's not cold, it's not passive-aggressive. It is vital emotional self-protection. You're just stepping back to preserve your own energy so you can actually show up as your best self. There's a pretty stark contrast here when you look at it. Toxic passivity looks like ignoring abuse, abandoning your responsibilities, or, playing the victim. But healthy let-me boundaries, those are all about setting realistic expectations, embracing self-responsibility, and actively choosing intentional next steps. This framework is absolutely not about giving up your power. It's about redirecting your power to focus exclusively on what is actually within your control. And finally, Section 6, reclaiming your peace through emotional resilience. Ultimately, the goal of this entire framework is to help you build lasting emotional resilience and to help you reclaim your peace in what is a very noisy, complicated world. I absolutely love this closing thought. If you've been spending your life trying to rewrite everyone else's script, it's time to put down the pen, let them write their own messy lines, and start directing your own show. So ask yourself today, whose script are you trying to write right now? And what would happen if you just let them? Take back your energy and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.